All right, let's try this again. Let's try this again. I'm going to wait for people to pile on. There's one. Hi, Allison. And I don't have these hinky settings over on the side. I had some really weird, there we go, now I got hearts. Okay, so this is much better. I don't know what was going on, but it was like there were camera settings showing up on the screen and I couldn't figure out how to get rid of them. It was the weirdest thing. So sorry about that. Okay, we're going to give everybody just a second to get on because we had about 25 people on just, whatever, 60 seconds ago. So let's just give them a chance to find this on the group and then we'll get going. I'm going to be doing binding on this bag, so while everybody's piling on, what do you think? This is a little bionic gear bag that I'm making so that I have a bionic gear bag and a mother load that are going to be made out of the same fabric. This is the 2016 row by row fabrics. Isn't it cute? Do you see this? Live free and quilt. There's little roads in here, and I used some different colors inside here, and here's where that little owl showed up. See him? He's so cute. So I want to finish this bag up because it matches the mother load that I'm not willing to show you guys quite yet, okay? Okay, so we got 14 people. And that's really good enough. I know this was last minute, and I'm sorry that this happens this way, but the intention here is we're going to use this one for a general video because the binding is the same on a lot of projects. This isn't a project-specific video. It's meant to show the side bindings. So I thought what we could do is show you guys how to do that. And I know some people just really get hung up on this, and it, you know, sometimes a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, then maybe this is worth 1,000,000. So this is the side binding I'm going to use, and I have pink that I'm going to use across the top for a zipper, and I'll show you that at the very end of all this. But what my intention is I want to show you how to do this with the machine. Right now, I've gotten to the point where this is all put on here. Oh, you want to see the exterior? What do you guys think? Is it cute? All right. So this is the side that folds down. But when this thing is, so when it's all zipped up, it's going to look like that. But here's the, love this. Here's what the back side looks like. I cut this so this little needles and pins cafe would be on the back side. And I'm just, sorry, I still got a tickle. I told you I was in a smoky place a couple days ago, and it's just such a bugger. I've been, I got a little bit of a cough. Anyway, so this is going to be the exterior. So when you're sitting at a class or something, remember the back side of the bag is almost like a cute little billboard. So if you're going to put your name on there or something like that, you could always think about doing your embroidery on the back side of these bags. Is that cool or what? And so this is the row by row fabric. And if you look at it really carefully, it says, you know, sweet home, you know, and I think that's darling. And there's that little owl again. So the binding is going to go on the side of this one. I've got blue and I've got yellow thread inside my machine, all threaded up and ready to go. So what I wanted to show you was the importance too of the 1/8 inch temporary seams. Like right now, this is all just put together with little 1/8 inch seams. So when I do my 1/4 inch ones, all of this will get covered. Now, before I start doing all my binding, that I always make sure I don't have any big bumps and stuff out here, and I haven't really had to trim that. But I'm here to tell you, there's nothing wrong with little trimmage. Just give it a little bit of a haircut if you need to make it nice and smooth going around. There, just a little tiny bit. But you see how easy that's going to be to go down the sides now? I mean, there's no big bumps or anything. And you can kind of look at it from the other side too. And see, I don't have any, I don't have any bad bumps there. So I just knocked off a couple little ones. So what I do when I put the binding on, now this is, I did this 2 inch. I know the pattern calls for 2 1/4 inch cut. This is 2 inch, okay? So it's folded in half. I have best pressed it and pressed it really nice and firm. Somebody just sent a crying thing. It's likely on your end. Are you guys, okay, thumbs up. Who can hear me? And I have to wait 10 seconds for an answer. If you can hear me, send a little thumbs up. Restart video if no sound. Seriously? Okay, so all those thumbs up mean that people can hear me. So it means that other people are having an issue. Mary Ellen, it's martini time. Let's have martinis. Okay, so other people can hear me, so that means that if you're having a problem, we have a different issue. There's 36 people on here right now, and look at all the thumbs up he's going by, so that means we're all right. All right, so now I cut this 2 inches wide, and I'm going to tell you why. Is that when I sew mine, I can be picky enough where once I do the 1/4 inch seam and I bring this around, it works for me, okay? Now what I do is I sew the binding to the outside edge, like this, okay? So I'm going to be sewing this to the outside edge here. I'm first going to be taking a 1/4 inch seam, or excuse me, 1/8 inch temporary seam, and then I'm going to come back and do a real pretty, Kathy just sent you martini glasses. See, when I was still in Colorado, Mary Ellen lives near me, and she talks about these chocolate martinis, but they never happen. I mean, we've just never had one. So it's one of these days when I get back that we're going to have to do it. And okay, and again, if you guys just got on here, this is going to be a general video. This is about the binding. This is going to work for a lot of projects. So tonight I'm working on this one, and I just want to get this one done. And because I was going to be putting, or I am going to be putting blue binding on here, and I've got yellow thread, this should show up really good for you guys. So that's why, well, like, look how good the stitching shows here. See, we're going to be doing more of that. So, okay, I'm going to be moving this over to the sewing machine, and I'll show you how I go about it now. I've got 2 of these tripod-y things set up. So see, there's my coffee cup. By the way, this is my favorite shape of coffee cup, when it's got a big wide base on the bottom and I don't knock them over. I'm really bad with coffee cups. So I'm going to swing you guys around and bring you over here to the sewing machine. Now, is that cool or what? See, we're starting to get this down to a fine art. So I have 2 of these cameras set up so that we can swing back and forth. And we can home in a little bit. How's that? Huh? Pretty darn cool. So we talked about starters and enders a little bit. Okay, so this is just a scrap I had left over from the last things I was doing. And like I said, I already have 1/8 inch. I have an 1/8 inch seam here already. And now I'm going to be adding another 1/8 inch. Yeah, see, this is pretty cool, huh? Tell you, just like downtown. And I had already bought quite a bit of camera equipment in that back in January, and I'm here to tell you, when everything happened, I just didn't get to using this stuff, and it was just too much learning curve, and so we're just kind of all getting back into it now. Now, these bindings I cut are plenty long. I mean, I'm going to show you this. See, oh, yeah, here. I mean, I got extra coming off the end here. So I'm just going to start it here. This is going to get trimmed off anyway. And the object of the game here is to do a little 1/8 inch. And I got shoes on. I hate sewing with shoes on. But I'm going to just start this real quick. And what I do is I just go off of my little starter piece here. And I'm on the binding, but I'm not on the bag yet. And now this is all, now I really could lengthen the stitch too, because this one doesn't matter. This is just enough to hold all the layers, and I kind of tease about whipping these layers into submission. But it's, all of these layers were already done with 1/8 inch temporary seams anyway, so all the layers are going to behave. Now the one thing that's important, I need to find something to point with, is, now I know it's blue on blue here, but can you see, oh, can you see the little bit of the blue of the binding here and then this blue? I want to make sure that that binding sticks out just a tiny bit so I can see it, because when I go to do the next row of stitching, it's really important that I see that edge. So if anything else is kind of funny, the one thing that's important is that I can see that binding. So the binding has got to stick out just a tiny, tiny bit. So, okay, so again, you don't have to be pretty about this. This is only temporary. And going to muscle it a little bit. And if you have a machine that lets you stop needle down, do it. So it holds it while you're muscling layers. Okay, so the only thing that's important right now is I'm going to make sure that I can keep seeing that binding poking out from the edge. And it's a little bit easier to see it there now, right? See, it's just has to be over the edge just a tiny, tiny bit. And on this foot, a 1/4 inch is right here on the edge. So as long as it catches it on the inside side here, I'm happy. And I just about scoot it off. Kind of watching this camera and doing this at the same time is, yeah, a little bit of multitasking. So what do you think? Can you guys see it okay? Some thumbs uppies would be nice right about now, because and I don't know, you know, how much you guys have seen in the pattern, but I have these pleats are folded back, and I have the pockets folding forward inside here so that it all lays down nice. See, now it's laying down good. There you go. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. At least I know you can see it then. We're not doing this for nothing. And the other thing I gotta say, it's really important. Now this is a deal breaker for a sewing machine as far as I'm concerned. The presser foot pressure adjustment, where you get to choose how hard you want the presser foot to press down, I've got mine set in about half of what the normal setting is for a Bernina. On this Bernina, I think the default is 50, and I've got mine set at 26. What this means is that this presser foot isn't pushing down hard, 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 like it's a, this is a Bernina 37 foot. Well, you know, might as well answer you while I see it. This is a 1/4 inch foot on a Bernina. But if the presser foot isn't pushing down too hard, then it doesn't try to bulldoze over these seams. You'll have a much easier time getting over these seams. So I always lighten mine up. Okay, and if a machine doesn't let you do that, because it just doesn't have the setting, it's time to start shopping for a machine if you're going to do bags, because you wouldn't believe how much harder that makes it on you when you can't lighten up that pressure. Okay, and again, I'm just stopping needle down, and this is only 1/8 of an inch, and it's only temporary. It doesn't have to be pretty because we're going to be covering all of this. Now that's a Microtex needle for you. Do you see how it just chowed through those layers like no problem? Okay, Microtexes are sharp, and they're meant to pierce through all this stuff. There's a lot of layers here, and it's not having a problem at all. And the other thing that's important is when you're going through these layers, especially if you lighten up your presser foot pressure. Anyone know if FAFs have that feature? They should. You really got to look it up. Look up your machine's manual. And by the way, if you guys have iPads and mobile devices and even your phones, go to the manufacturer's site for your sewing machine. See if they have a downloadable PDF, and put the PDF into your iPad. If you take your machine anywhere, then you've got a copy of your manual with you. And what's better than having that paper manual is having that manual on like an iPad, because you can search it. So you could put in pressure into it, like the word pressure. There's not many things that I think you would see pressure used, but it would be for this presser foot pressure adjustment. Okay. And you know what? Even my little $600 baby FAF has it, so it probably has it. Okay, so we're going to finish going through this. And I'm going to point again because now it's easier to see. And I know that this is magnified, so you guys, it looks like it's sticking way out, and it's not. But this little bit of blue right here, see, that's the binding, okay? Courtney's going to go download her manual now. Are you going to leave us to go do that? You could always download it later. Put it on your list of things to do. Okay, and again, I'm watching that binding go by, and I want to make sure it's not anywhere near a 1/4 inch, because we want all this stitching to hide here in a little bit. And I used big long stitches partially so I could chow through this for you guys on here. And a little dance backwards just to nail it down. And this is, again, I don't like using the starters and enders. Now, excuse me, I don't like just cutting the threads. I don't like the manual thread or the automatic thread cutters on these machines. And right now, I mean, I'm going to pick my needle up, and I don't like pulling this out and having about a 4-inch chunk of thread flying around. I hate electrical cords, and I hate threads flying around. So what I do is I just turn this a little tiny bit, and I'm going to sew off onto a scrap. See? Just a tiny bit. Now look at that. I've got about 1 inch of thread here, and that's all I'm using, and that's going to be, I didn't waste any coming off of here, and I'm only using about 1 inch of thread going on to the next thing we sew, because it's all parked in here. So I totally believe in those, okay? Now that we've done that, and see, and I'm going to cut off this starter piece that was on when we started. See how neat that is? There's no straggly threads hanging around. Isn't that cool? So what I'm going to do now's the time to go do the perfect 1/4 inch. So I'm going to use a good construction stitch, which is like, oh, I don't know, you know, a 2.2 millimeter, 2 millimeters, something in that range, okay? You just don't want to use big long top stitching ones. And now the side on this foot is a 1/4 inch. So now what's important is that the edge of that binding is going to be, and see, and I want to sew with this with these layers coming up. I don't know, can I, well, let me zoom out. Probably not. Oh, there we go. Okay. All these layers, all these bumps and hills, what I like to do is sew with that where I can see it. Now, I know that that binding is flat down below here, so all I have to do is be able to see the edge of it, and that's the only thing that has got my eye, is where this edge of this binding is. Because when you go to fold the binding over, that skinny little piece of binding is going to show whether if you've wavered in and out, it's going to show because of the binding. You're not going to see it on the bag, okay? So it's just important to follow the edge of the binding with your foot. That's the only thing you pay attention to. So I'm moving along, and that edge of the binding is going right along the side of that foot. And you can see so far, life is good, because all these other temporary stitches are all within that 1/4 inch. And I might run into trouble there, so you know what? You saw it here first. I really don't know what those are about, but whatever they are, I don't need them now. Not sure why that happened. You don't see me use a seam ripper too often, but what the hell. You know, I'd rather do that than not. Might as well be picky. And I got such terrible long fingernails and stuff that I have a hard time grabbing those threads. So there. Alright, 1/4 inch seam. We're going to finish this. Now there's no race, and I must be one of the slowest sewers in the West. Bridget's asking, can you use the flat felded foot for the binding and like a flat felled seam foot? And I'm going to show you guys what one of those is. Let me grab one. I've got one here. Flat felled foot is, it looks like this, okay, and it's meant to fold it over, and it's meant to measure it and everything. The problem with using this is that you're not going to be able to go over all these layers real well. I mean, we have so many layers where these pleats are that I think you'd really run into some trouble with this thing. So I personally don't use it for something like this. If you're going to make a placemat or a mug rug, that's another whole animal. But when you're dealing with all these layers and a little bit of curving and stuff here, I'm trying to get my, make sure I'm accurate going around this now. The only thing that's important is that it's a 1/4 inch right here. Okay, so as the layers are feeding into it, it can look like it's off up here, but where it matters is at the needle. So I'm watching that really close. Excuse me. And now what I've got is the pleats are all pushed going back, and my pockets over here are all pushed forward. So this is all laying pretty flat. It's really not that bad. And again, now this is my good little 1/4 inch seam. And now do you see it go right up and over those bumps really easy? That was a pretty good sized bump, but it went over it because I've got that presser foot pressure adjustment lightened up. And when I teach classes, I bet you 8 out of 10 students, if their machines have it, they've never messed with it. They don't know that they're able to lighten that up and it's going to feed through the layers better. See, this machine would really be struggling if it had to push over these big bumps and it was pushing down hard. You'd have a hard time getting it to work. And now check out that Microtex needle. Are we talking that there's any problems here at all? Heck no. It just feeds this fabric through beautifully. Okay, whoops. See, I'm no good at sewing with shoes on. I'm going to kick that shoe off before we do the next thing. But right now, this is all just to get a 1/4 inch seam. There's no race. This is where you just want to have a nice job done. And I'm watching the edge of that binding. I'm not looking at anything else. Are you guys bored to tears yet? No, you don't. We don't want any thumbs up for that. I just want to make sure you guys are all right. But here we go. So now, A little bit of reverse dance right here just because it's fun to do. Never knew that about pressure feet. Do you just adjust it with the screw on the back side, or is it something special on a Bernina? You know, Jackie, it's every machine's a little different. There's, look at the smiley faces. Every machine's a little bit different. Some of them just have a knob somewhere. It's electronic on this machine, so I just have to set it. I can't sew shoes on. Yeah, the shoe is going right now. I'm telling you, it's off. Okay, there, no more right shoe. And again, I'm going off onto a scrap. Okay. So you can see that, you know, if you're just sewing off with the scrap, look at this. I don't have any extra threads around at all. Love these little tiny scissors. These are the ones I was talking about earlier. You can grab them either way, and they're just tiny in the tip, so they're easy to work with. And there. Ta-da. So I'm going to go, okay, you can see the stitches there? See that? See how bad that 1/8 inch one can be? Look at this. It's zipping in and out. Look how uneven that first one is, and it doesn't matter as long as you're within that 1/4 inch. But if you, I know it plays tricks on your eyes, but you see that that 1/4 inch is pretty even going all the way around. Might be a little kinky right there. Shouldn't be, but maybe I was talking too much. Anyway, we'll make it work. I promise that we don't get to see that anyway, so I'll make it work. Okay, I'm going, why do I go off of a scrap? Okay, we did a little deal on this, and some people said, oh, I learned that, you know, way back when. This is a starter and ender thing, or some people call them on and offs, or a spider, because you'll have little threads stick out on this. But if you just take a little postage stamp size piece of fabric like this, and you start and stop on here, you don't have all those threads. So every time I start and stop, I'm only using maybe about an extra inch, inch and a half of thread instead of long, long tails, okay? And it also says, Judy is saying, don't forget to put the presser foot pressure back to normal when you're finished. I forgot to spend an hour trying to figure out why my feed wasn't feeding properly. Well, and see, like on my machine, it probably, no, mine probably would remember where I left it. But mine also shows me like it's in yellow right now. I'll show you this when I move the camera. But anyway, by starting and stopping on this fabric, I don't have any weird tails. Now look at all the work I've done in this bag, and do you see any scraps of thread hanging out of it? I mean, no, it's nice and neat to work with, and it doesn't make me crazy, and it doesn't get caught where you have to pull them out later. You know, there's a little bit here with, you know, threads from the fabric, which is normal, but at least I don't have a bunch of sewing threads here too. So this takes care of all those loose threads as you go along, okay? Okay, let me show you. Excuse me. And I can't believe all you night owls. 74 of you are night owls. Bless your little hearts, okay? I'm going to pop this out of here, and I'm going to show you the screen on here. Now see, on my machine, that's the presser foot pressure adjustment. It's showing, it's like a little icon. Here, I got to get, sorry, I'm holding holding the camera with one hand. But this is the little icon for it. If I press on it, it brings this up, and see, I can choose where I want it to be. On this particular Bernina, because it's got the yellow around it, that's its reminder that I've messed with it. It's not the default setting. So if I press on it, see, it turns it back up to 50, and that's what normal is. So I just wanted you to see that. I mean, I've got it way, way down. I mean, I really lighten it up so that it doesn't have as much heavy presser foot pressure on these heavy layers. And then you just don't have a problem with your layers, excuse me, you don't have a problem with your layers bulldozing, okay? And sometimes even if you're piecing, I mean, even if you're only working with a couple light layers, when that top layer wants to really shove and it always wants to shimmy towards you, it's bulldozing, okay? So if you can lighten up the presser foot pressure, you usually can still get good traction and your top layer won't bulldoze. All right, so let me move this camera over to where we were started. There's my messy desk. Don't you love the messy desk? There's that bowl I showed you guys earlier on Jammy Chat, but see, here it is sitting next to my machine, and that's the way stuff sits around here. And I got water, and I got stuff. I got all sorts of stuff. Look at all the junk. All right, so I'm going to put this in up here. Ta-da. And you should be right here. Now let me trying to back this camera out. There we go. All right. 9:40 in Colorado. Yes. 9:40 in Utah too. But gee, none of us sewing people stay up late, right? What number did you start at? What number? If you mean the presser foot pressure number, I was working with number 26 only because that's where it just landed. I mean, what I did is I about cut mine in half when I was going over those layers. So is that what you meant, the number of the presser foot pressure? Colleen said, when did you start? Tonight, a little after 9 o'clock. Okay, so we've been into this thing for a few minutes, but let's see, check the little Apple Watch. Yeah, we've been at it about a half hour. So this is getting this first side done. Now here's what I want to show you. What's so wonderful about doing this way is, now you can see that this top layer, or this top one, is all goofy, right? Well, that was the 1/8 inch temporary seam. So when you go to fold this over, the 1/4 inch is only what's important. And see, when I go to fold that over and I push it up against those layers, look at how nice and even that is, okay? Now, I'm a Wonder Clip junkie, and you'll hear me say it every time I use these, because the whole idea of those Wonder Clips being ripped off and copied, and there's a cheaper knockoff of them, I don't think they work as good. They got catchies on them, the springs aren't as tight. So I'm going to show you this. We're going to flip this around to the back side. So you can see now, look at this. The only object of the game, because you know your stitching is a pretty 1/4 inch, the only object of the game is to get that binding over that row of stitching. If it just barely covers it, that's what's important. Can you guys see that? And let me push. I'm only pushing a little bit over. I'm not going to do the whole thing because I'm going to show you how to do that whole gluing deal. Okay. Now, if you were going to try to sew this, if you went to the corners where this thing curves, it's really hard to muscle it and have it behave. Down here, right here in this curve, it doesn't want to behave. Okay, it's just not fun. But if you can get, and plus you do have more layers now, and again, if you don't have that presser foot pressure adjustment, where you can lighten this up, when you go to sew this next round, you know, your machine's going to want to shove things around a little bit. So if you glue it, it gets you out of all of that, okay? So I'm going to start at the other end probably, because it, you know, I'm right-handed, and it just seems like if I start on this side and fold this binding over, it works better for me. Now, I did another video here just, I don't know, a week or so ago, and it was about putting the glue in these syringes, okay? And if you go look on the SoMuchNicer.com site, you'll see that, when do we use the glue? We're going to use it right now, Colleen. Isn't this exciting? You get to see glue get used. I mean, we're talking middle of the night thrills and chills here. Who would have thunk it, right? Okay. But I did a quick video on this, and mostly what it was about was how to fill these syringes so you don't have bubbles. There's a few tricks to it. There's another video out there, and I think I put it on the So Much Nicer community site. Okay. On the end here, this is just a tag from, like a price tag on a garment from the store, and if you use those, they don't stick. And you can pull them out, and they also don't oxidize the glue, and you won't have any rust. So I'm just going to give this a little bit of squish here real quick, and see, look at that, just like magic. See? Now the upside of using these syringes is that, you know, you can go along and you can make, I'm going to do this on my finger just so you can see. You can make a real easy bead of glue, and then when you're done, and now that's starting to eke out of there a little bit, all you do is you push the syringe back a little bit, and it won't leak anymore. Isn't that cool? So these syringes are the ticket. Now, you won't hear me blast. I'm getting a tissue just to wipe that off my finger. You won't hear me blast about different products too much. And when they sell stuff in the stores like that, the basting glue and that, okay, I don't think there's a hill of beans difference. This glue is Elmer's school glue. It's water washable, so if kids get it all over their clothes, it comes out. It's not meant to hold things permanently. So this particular glue is just a school glue. It's super cheap. The syringes are cheap if you go to the SoMuchNicer.com. Let's see, I can't believe there's a valid reason to keep those plastic pieces from price tags. They're perfect for the glue syringe stuff. Yeah, well, you know, and it's not my idea. Somebody else showed it to me, and it's smart. Just, you know, just hang on to them. I mean, I know it's a silly thing. But also these things, these syringes, now see, I hot glue a washer to the bottom, so I can just drop it on the table, and it stands there. Okay, I know that that's silly, but makes me happy. What can I say? Oh, and what I will show you, this is really funny because I was cleaning out my messy place here. This is a total little derailment. But when I did the glue video, how many of you guys saw the glue video? Okay. And in 10 seconds from now, I get to find out what that answer is. You know, thumbs up or a heart if you saw the glue video. I talked about how I used this thing, and I'm telling you, it was 30 years ago. I mean, I was using these syringes, and I was using the washer. This is nothing new, okay? But I have to show you what I was making. I made house payments out of these things. I mentioned on that video that I was doing these for, literally, I was making thousands of them. So I made these stupid little kitchen magnets, see? These are pom-poms. I got these pom-poms in by the big boxes. It was like a laundry hamper full of pom-poms, and you wouldn't believe how many of these I went through. Okay, so anyway, this is what I was making way back when, and I made thousands of them, and the way I did it with these tiny little eyes on here and another tiny little pom-pom for the nose. I used a little heart punch, and I made the little tongues out of ribbon. The ears were cut from ribbon. But I made thousands of these when my son was little and I was single and I had a house. These stupid things made my house payment. So, you know, and this is the one and only one I've kept. I just have to tell you. Oh, those credit cards? Those aren't even valid ones. Don't even worry about it. These are ones that I was going to use to show a wallet. Okay, so these aren't even valid credit cards. So the haters can have all the fun they want with that, and they're not even valid ones. But thanks for worrying about me, okay? Anyway, so there you have it, okay? Yeah, and dastardly deeds. We know that the infidels would love to do that. So there you have it, okay? So this is really cool. No, I kept, I've got some Joann's cards in there, and I've got some old credit cards, and I'm using them so that when I make this other wallet pattern, those are the ones that are going to go in to show that everything fits, okay? So I just keep my old ones. All right, so now, but thanks for worrying about me. I'm glad. Yeah, they won't get anywhere with that. They can have all the fun they want. They're not going to get anywhere with an old credit card that expired, you know, a year ago because of moving and everything. I've changed numbers a bunch of times. Okay, so anyway, so let's do this glue thing. All right. What I do is I use a bunch of Wonder Clips, and you don't have to use a ton, but all you're doing is taking this, and you don't have to go all the way down to that edge, you know, and not that you're going to see it, but see, you can just put a bead of glue right across there. I hope you can see that. Let me do one more right across here. And I'm doing it through the camera, so it's a little hard for me to see, but I want to make sure that you can. And then all you do is you fold the binding over and make sure that it's covering your stitches. And again, it's hard because I don't have the right angle here. If I was doing this without the camera in between here, this would be simple. Okay, so all you do is you put a Wonder Clip. Okay. Want to make sure it's tight. Just put a Wonder Clip here. You're not going to be sewing with these Wonder Clips. It's only going to be to hold this stuff while the glue sets up on you. So I used quite a few of them, okay? And again, it's not the Wonder Clip that I'm measuring with. I'm measuring by making sure that that binding is barely covering those stitches on the other side. All right? And what I'll do is I'm going to do just a little bit going down this side, and then we'll be able to sew this before this video is over, and you can see the foot I use and everything, okay? So I'm just putting a little more glue there. Putting that back down. Sorry, can you guys see okay? Hope you can. And see, you can't see the stitching. That's the only thing that's important. And if you even only had 10 Wonder Clips, you can do this, because by the time the first 10 are done and dry, Thanks for the hearts and thumbs up, you guys. By the time the first 10 are dry, you can move this. I mean, or you know, you use about 10 of them. You can move it because the stuff dries pretty quickly. Now I tried using the clear school glue because it just makes sense. Wouldn't it be nice? It's clear. Okay, the clear. I hand sewed. You know what? You don't hand sew the bindings. What a pain. Yeah, no, 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 no. If it doesn't get done by a machine, it doesn't get done in my world. Okay. So I'm again putting just a load of Wonder Clips down. Curious, have you ever tried using the 1/4 inch fusible? No. No, what a pain that would be. I just wouldn't use the fusible. You know what? I mean, fighting with this, and the thing is, you know what? This stuff it's kind of heavy. Like I'm going around a good sized bump here right now, and I really got to pull it to make sure that it covers. So I just really pulled it here to make sure it covers. But look what I can do. Look what I can do. You remember that from Saturday Night Live? Look what I can do. Okay, so you see with this little nozzle, you can squirt it right in there. Okay. And this one spot right here is right on a bump. It's wicked, okay? Because the object of the game here is when you go back over with your sewing machine, this is going to look all professional and stitched. And I know that you guys, you quilters that are really into your hand stitching, you know what you're doing. Yeah, what do you think though? We'll be making another BGB video for us beginners. We're doing lots of these videos. It's just that tonight I thought, well, you know, my house is quiet tonight, and it was a good time to do this because I'm doing this binding anyway. And plus this binding, I'm going to be using yellow thread on this blue binding. How brave, huh? And I thought it'd be a good time to do the video. So, I mean, I'm trying to get a lot done. I mean, and really we wrestled with some lighting issues, and we wrestled with cameras. We've wrestled with some of this technology, and it's finally getting there. I'm anal about straight stitching, so I've been hand stitching them. After making hundreds of bags, I just might switch. Yes. I hit the binding with an iron to bond the glue to the fabric and then put the clips on for double measure, but learned that from quilt. See, I haven't hit it with an iron at all. I mean, it's going to be fine. And this probably isn't my best work. I mean, when see, and I can see stitching right there. That's enough to make me crazy. I'm going to take out 2, and I'm going to pull this around a little bit more. There. Can't see it now. Did you hear that Wonder Clip fly off the other end over here? It just went sailing towards the computer. There we go. And see again, if you're holding it, see you can still get in here pretty easy. See, is this cool or what? See, this little nozzle thing is the ticket. Some people said, oh, how come you want the little curvy nozzles? Well, just like that. I mean, I can park that up in there, and it comes out beautiful. I think I have larger clips, but they're clover. I missed that. Do you think they will work? You know, let me grab something. Okay, I have some of these big massive guys, and you know what? Yeah, they would work, but I don't know. I haven't used them for much. I like these little guys. But really, you know what? I mean, get the real ones. Don't buy the cheapy ones. And I think these springs are tighter. I sure just never have a problem. That guy was upside down. Let's turn him around. There. So you see how many I used? But honestly, I'm going to take one off here. And see, that's stuck. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. I took off 2 here, and it is stuck. See? So it's not bad. And I probably didn't get some right here on the end. So let's just give it a little dab. Not that that would have been hard to control anyway, it wouldn't have been. But what you can do at this point, so you don't have to own like 50 of these Wonder Clips if you're trying to save some money. What have I got here? I'm here to tell you that even if you had 10 and you just went a little bit slower, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I use 17. So yeah, I guess maybe if you had like 20 of them, then you could really just sail along. So now what you do is you leapfrog them. You put a little bit of glue here, take the old one off, move it over. And you could just do that until you finish this. But you know what? And I might as well finish it because once I get this on the machine, I don't really want to stop in the middle, do I? So I might as well do this. Thumbs up. Is anybody nodding off and going to sleep? Are you guys okay? So for the people that see this video down the road, it is 10 o'clock Mountain Time, which means some of these guys, it's midnight for them out on the East Coast, or God only knows what it is for them on some other continent. But hey, we're sewing people. We do this in the middle of the night. Okay, I'm just making sure that that is covering nice and evenly over those stitches, because my 1/4 inch is what's important here. So this isn't too bad. What do you think, you guys? And as soon as this is all done, we'll talk about that foot a little bit more, because the foot you want to use is a stitch in the ditch or edge joining foot that has a blade, and you want one with a hole in it that allows you to do zigzag. So you guys been able to see this most of the time? I haven't fallen off camera too much, have I? It's time for coffee here a little bit. As much as I want to make this bag, oh, I got to roll back. What was that? I just saw it. As much as I want to make this bag, I have the pattern. It seems fairly involved and difficult. You know, Michelle, it's not. It's just a take your time thing, okay? And we're going to go through everything step by step when I do those videos. It's just sewing. I mean, it really isn't. I mean, does this go fast? No, not really. But if you like doing this sort of thing, then this is a lot of fun. Omar, 3:53 on the east coast of Australia. You're staying in the camera. That's good. It's really easy and fun once you get going. And you know what? I have to tell you guys, when I still need to hit a coffee. Hang on. When I had my bead shop, we used to tease about 2 kinds of customers. There were the customers that were the results-oriented ones, and there were the process junkies. Now, I am a hardcore process junkie. A process junkie is the kind of person who likes to play, and they have more fun playing with their toys than they do even building anything with them. They just like to play. I'm so like that. I love my toys. I just love all this stuff. And I gotta grab some more Wonder Clips. And the process junkies are the kind that'll have 4 or 5 projects going at once. Doesn't bother them a bit. Doesn't bother them a bit if something doesn't get done. I mean, it can sit half done forever. And when the process junkie feels like working on it again is when they do. And see, I'm so like that. And the results-oriented person, that was the kind of person that would come in, buy just enough material for a project, do that one project because they're dying to have that finished product, and that's their thing that motivates them. Meanwhile, the process junkies are happy as heck just playing with the toys. So see, I'm totally one of the toy people. Okay? Am I still where you guys can see me? Almost done here. I'm going to leave one more. And again, I'm watching this through the camera a little bit, so and really this camera's in my way, but hey, you get the idea. Okay? And you can see you see that stitching? See the yellow stitching? See, we're just barely covering that. And I'm going to scrape that with my nail. I got a little bit too much there. A couple more Wonder Clips and this is done. Okay. Okay, so I'm a weirdo. See, I have these bright green Wonder Clips are by my machine, and then the colored ones are between the cutting table and other places, and theoretically, I always have Wonder Clips in the right places then, so they all don't migrate, but tonight we're going to use a bunch. Alright, so there you have it. Now the back side, it's kind of hard to tell with those clips there. Just try to look at the blue and look at how even that is. Is there a reason you put the clips on with the more rounded sides on the side you're gluing? I put them the other way around so I really mush the glue into the binding. You know, I don't know. I mean, I think it works, and I think it just feels good going around the curves that way. I don't think it matters. Whatever feels good to you. In a perfect world, if you were going to take these off and sew, these are flat on the back side. I think it's just habit. You know what? That's what it is with me. I mean, this is the side I'm working with, and this is flat back here. And it's just habit that the clear sides go to the back. It's not important. But it smushes the glue enough anyway. It'll work. So we're going to let that kind of half dry for a minute. Now, what was funny, one time I was doing this at my shop, and I wanted to heat this up and get it done sooner. And I was thinking, dang, I wish I had a hairdryer. Well, there was a beauty salon right next to me, so I ran over there and used one of their hair dryers. But I didn't even think of it. It was one of my friends that was over at the shop. She goes, well, you're right next to a hair salon. They probably got a hairdryer over there. Yeah, duh. So, anyway, let's talk about the feet while that's drying just for a minute, okay? And then we will be able to still sew this. I mean, my machine's all threaded up. It's good to go. So, we'll have an easy time doing this yet tonight. And you know what? If you can see that little bit of yellow peeking through there, I mean, that isn't stitching in that. That's just the nature of this fabric, okay? It's just got these little funny wavy lines and stuff. So I think it's fine. All right, the feet. This is a Bernina number 10 foot, okay? And you can see this blade underneath here. So what this blade is going to do is it's going to ride along the edge, and as long as you have the one, and the Bernina number 10 foot is a zigzag one. See the hole? It's meant that you can zigzag, okay? I place the way Sally does. Anyway, the zigzag hole lets you decenter the needle. Now that's another thing. I can't believe how often I go to classes and somebody didn't know that they could move their needle over just a notch or two. And the object of the game is to use the tools so that the tools are doing the hardest work for you. In this case, it's to be stitching perfectly along that binding, and your stitches will be real pretty. Okay, so this will make it, gives you a good hard guide for that binding. Okay. And I think I'm going to take off a few of these and we'll see how we're doing. The other thing we can do now too is you can cut off the leftovers of this. Don't really need it, and I'm still going to just start stitching on that to make it easy, and then I'll still cut that one more time. But let's move this a little bit and see how it's behaving. Yeah, it's pretty stuck. What do you think? You guys got any questions? I really want this to dry like just even 3 more minutes before I pop all these clips off before I take it to my sewing machine. I don't want goobery stuff. And I don't have a hot iron here. I mean, Barb's idea is smart to, you know, go hit it with an iron if you're in a hurry, but I don't even have an iron lit up right now. It would take me just as long to light up the iron as it would to do this. She calls that her OCD foot. That's cute. Well, I bet yours doesn't have disco balls on it, so can you see the glitter on mine? I used this nail polish, and it was the night before I was going to go get my dental surgery, and I was trying to do anything to preoccupy my mind. The glue doesn't really soak through. You won't see that. The Bernina feet are on sale right now, 25% off. And I'm so glad I have all my feet then. See, I don't have to go buy feet. All right, so I was teasing though that I put this glitter on these feet, so at least I know my feet if I take them to a class or something. And does the glue show through on the outside? No. I mean, we glued this side. Whoops. Watch. We glued this side. You see any glue here? Negative. I mean, there's all these layers. I mean, we have several layers of between lining and interfacing and all of that, you know. And if you were going to do, if you do the cushy binding, you know, like you're using a batting, you're probably going to want to cut that binding 2 1/4 like the pattern says. And I kind of have to cover my butt to say 2 1/4 in the pattern. But if I'm using 2 layers of SF101, and that's what this is, see, this has got a nice looking structured feel to it, and it's fine. I don't have to use batting, and I don't have to do any quilting and ruin this. This fabric is the row by row fabric for 2016. And if you don't know what the row by row experience is, you need to Google it, or you can search row by row on Facebook, and you'll see how these. It's a crazy thing. I mean, it's amazing what they've done. All the quilts, I shouldn't say all the quilt stores, most quilt stores participate in this thing, and there's thousands of stores, and this was the fabric that they offered this year. Their theme this year was Home Sweet Home. And then I forgot what the theme is. Does anybody remember what the theme's going to be for next year already? They already announced it, and now I have a brain fart. I can't remember it. The ducky thing for me, I assume you said lucky. Lucky thing for me, my Janome has a wide foot like yours. It really makes it difficult to stitch. It has a wide foot like yours. It does have a wide foot like yours. It's sucky thing for me. Colleen, I bet you it's a 7mm wide foot, right? It's not that wide. This is going to work. Trust me on this. I still like the skinnier feet, though. I love my 5.5mm feet. When I keep hearing, you know, like bigger is always better, especially in Bernina land, oh, it's not true. This little 5.5mm foot, I just love it. Sharon Chambers is a master quilter who has won awards at Ashley, and she uses this method in her bindings and obviously has no problems with it showing. Oh, that's cool. On the Go is next year's theme. On the Go, oh, see, think how fun that'll be. See, I can get into my camping theme with the whole On the Go. I mean, that'll be fun. So anyway, my main reason for doing this row by row fabric, I mean, it is cute. I really like it. But for me, it's that, you know, I'll be able to show this at different stores, and a lot of stores had this. This one will be popular to have around here for the next year. All right, well, I'm going to pop off some more of these clips. First, I'm going to move the camera again. Here we go. I'm going to go for a ride. See, there's my Bernina feet. I've got a couple doors open here. But, so, I love the Bernina feet. Here we go. Gonna go for a quick ride. Back over here to the machine. And there. And there. And we need to move it a little bit more. There. Is that snazzy or what? It's time for bed and you're making me want to sew. Hey, we're almost done. We're going to see this last little thing here with the foot and all. And you'll be so impressed. So, foot up, needle up. My little scrap of thread can stay in there. Scrap of fabric with my thread. And put the new one on, and all I do is I just threaded through the thread first, and there, that foot's on. Okay. So what do you think of the disco ball action, huh? And now I'm going to finish ejecting these clips. Do this so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm going to be picking those up for a while. Thank God I don't have any puppies in the house to eat these things. You know, been there, done that. And what we can do is we can get this started on one side, and I'm still going to let that last half dry a little bit more. But here's what I want to show you. Now, you got to think about this. Look how nice that looks. See, that's pretty even, huh? I need something to point with. All right. Just cut off a zipper pull while watching this video. Oops. Elmer's school glue. Did somebody else ask? So much better to watch than read the directions and try figuring it out. You know, isn't that the truth for a lot of things? I mean, you know, and this is the stuff we would do in a class. We'd sit and hang around and talk about it, and You know, it wouldn't get done any faster than this video is getting done, but at least you guys get to see it from start to finish, and it'll work. Yeah, and somebody must have asked while I was looking at the machine and not looking at the questions going by. Sometimes I miss them. It's just washable school glue. Literally. Let me show you the bottle. Had to run and get it. Here it is. See? Washable. Ta-da. No run. Safe, non-toxic. #1 teacher brand. Well, that makes you want to buy it, doesn't it? Hey, you get this at Walmart for about $1. Now, if you want to get fancy schmancy, and we talked about this in the glue video. I think I have one here. Maybe I don't. I might have put it away. Okay, there's the glue you can buy that's like the basting glue, and I think it's got to be pretty darn similar to this. But the thing I don't like about that glue is that it's in a harder bottle to squeeze. These, if you put it in the syringes, all you got to do is, you know, let me show you again. When I was working with the syringe, I was holding it like this and just squishing my thumb up against it just a little tiny bit, okay? And it's real easy to control. Marsha, this video is going to stay here in the So Much Nicer group, okay? And this one's probably going to go out to YouTube too, and this one's probably going to get around, okay? What kind of thread and size needle? I'm using a number 80 Microtex. It's a sharp needle. It pierces, and it did a really great job going through this, and it's going to do a really great job going through here too. And then this happens to be King Tut thread. King Tut, I always have to look at the numbers. See, they call this a 40 weight. And you know the way the numbers work, right? Like a 50 weight is skinnier, and then 40 is thicker, and 30 be even thicker. I think the King Tut presents itself more like a 30 weight that I see in, excuse me, in other brands. So it's got a little bit thicker look to it, so it looks really nice. Love your video, Sally. Bought the pattern through Craftsy, $13 4 months ago, and have only made the back and 2 sides. Hey, well, now you can finish that puppy, huh? Okay, so now let me show you this foot. The blade, let's zoom in. Let's zoom in. Can you guys see that really good? I know some of you are just watching on phones, and I want you to be able to see what we're doing. The object of the game here is I want the blade to ride along on this side. This is the exterior of the bag. This is what shows the most. Okay, so I want the stitching to be here. Now you could either stitch in the ditch and hide this along this edge, or if you're brave, and I'm going to be brave tonight, I've got yellow thread in here, and I'm going to have the stitching show on the blue, okay? Now, I played around with that presser foot pressure adjustment when we were showing off a little while ago, so I'm changing it again. I'm lightening it all back up again so that my machine isn't going to grunt when it gets up against those layers. So I just dropped it in half. My normal setting is 50 on this machine. If I was doing just a couple layers of cotton, I changed it down to like 25-ish, okay? So I just did that. I'm lengthening my stitch. You guys can't see me do this, but I'm lengthening my stitch to a 3.5 millimeter stitch, so it's a nice top stitching stitch. And now the next thing I want to do is, and I can do this back here, and I can kind of test it because I left a little tail here. I'm going to put the foot down, and I want my needle to land just inside here. So instead of, I'm glad I learned how to use this foot. Never use it. Oh my God, Marsha, this is the best foot in the world. Okay, right here, this edge here is where the blade's going to go. Oh, you can't see it. My finger's in the way. Sorry. Okay, right here is where the blade's going to go. I want the stitching to be like just barely over here. So I'm going to move my needle over 2 clicks to the right. And I know that's hard to see, but you know what I should do is I should do a scrap, huh? We could do a scrap. I just cut off a chunk and I just got to find it. Oh, I found it. I'm going to show you this real fast so you can see what I'm trying to do. Might as well show you. So here's a scrap. Ha! Scrap. Pretend this is that binding, okay? And I'm going to use a pin or two just so you guys see. And I'm going to park it. I'm going to park the pin way over here so I can roll right past it. Pretend this is binding, okay? Okay, so needle up. The blade is right down there on that edge, and it's 2 clicks over. So let's see where it lands. And 2 clicks might not be enough, so over it goes again. And see, I'm just following that. I hope you guys can see that. The fold is going right up against that blade. All right. And it's barely catching. So I'm here to tell you that this wasn't over as far as I thought it was going to be. And in my defense, I haven't had this machine all that long. I got this machine and it and I are still getting used to each other. I have another machine that's a big, wide 9mm machine, and I don't care for it as much as this. Okay. There, now I can show you guys what I wanted to show you. Same thing always. I'm going to go off on a piece of scrap. And again, part of it's just because I freaking hate those threads flying around everywhere. I just hit the table. I know it bounced the camera. But see, now there. That's what we're trying to do. See how pretty that is? Pretty, pretty, pretty. Okay. So that's all because the foot set that spacing just right. So now we can run the project through it. Okay. And again, that presser foot pressure adjustment's a huge thing, okay? Now the other thing to remember, we know it's, okay, let's talk about this. Right underneath this stitching, remember this is where we stitch the binding down. Oh God, you can't see it again. Here we go. Where we stitched the binding down on the other side, that was the stitching we covered with the binding on the back side. So it's around the back a little bit, and it's extending beyond this point. We glued it there. It is not going to move, okay? Yeah, good thing we did the scrap. No kidding, huh? See, I'm all about that though, and I would have ripped it out if I had to. But remember that the stitching is under here, and we covered the binding over it. And plus now we're stitching a little bit more over here. We absolutely positively, because we glued, are going to be catching this binding on the other side, as long as we keep the blade on this edge of this binding, okay? So here we go. And one thing now I can feel it underneath here. I got my finger, this finger here is underneath. I can feel I got layers hitting up against my sewing machine. So you got to really make sure that you're not getting hung up on anything. And it's turning out beautiful. And I'm going to remove the last of these wonder clips. I'm probably off camera here a little bit, see, but I got wonder clips here. I'm getting rid of the last of these. So is this like the coolest trick ever, huh? And when people tell me they're going to hand sew bindings down, I just think, oh my God, no, 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 no. Here. So I'm going to back you up just a little bit so you can see a little bit more of what's happening. And I'm holding this up. I'm holding this up back here so that it doesn't get hung up on the front edge of my machine. And now, if you guys only could see how thick this is I'm going over, did you see that foot move up? Now, if that presser foot pressure adjustment had been pushing down hard on this, it would have just gotten hung up right there. But it went up and over it real easy because there's not a lot holding this foot down. Okay? And there's no race. Just take your time and feel good about what you're doing. Okay? And you know, it really sounded like it was a little funny there, and almost I thought maybe it skipped a stitch, but no, they look good. And that's the other thing. I mean, you don't want to push the work through with your hands. You let the machine do the work, because otherwise that's how you break needles and stuff too, because you're pushing something and it's just not ready to go there yet. let the machine do the work. And you're just guiding it and making sure everything is staying pretty, okay? And all the machines have a foot like this. If you don't own one, get one, okay? In the Brother Baby Lock land, their feet aren't very expensive. Pfaff has them. Pfaff has some, though, that are single hole. I had a hard time finding one here, well, I was in Denver at the time. I had a hard time finding one. And see, I'm only even taking a couple stitches because I've got stuff curving underneath this thing. And I want to make sure that my blade is still where it needs to be. Okay, now I can flatten it out. But I just went around a pretty drastic curve. Okay, and then I saw a little, I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that little ripple right there? It just wants to dimple in. Who knows what's pulling it underneath, and I don't care. My job is just to straighten that out when it goes to the blade. Ta-da! And I still use a scrap because it's all about no messy threads around. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. Now, this is the outside of my bag. Now you tell me that there's anything wrong with that, huh? And I know that the camera angle maybe looks a little distorted. Let's back it up. See? Just like downtown. See how straight that is? And now you guys are going to die. This is so much fun. Check this out on the underside here. This is where all those lumps and bumps are. Huge lumps and bumps. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? I got one little loopy there. I might even glue it, but that is the extent of any problems. See, there's nothing wrong with that. And then you got to remember, that's gonna be inside the bag like this, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. What do you think? Come on a 1 to 10, it's a good 9.5, okay? And it looks a lot better than, I think it looks better than if you hand did it. Okay, the one thing I'm going to show you guys, last thing, is the whole weirdness with putting the layers together for that zipper. We're not going to sew it, but I'll show you that real quick, okay? Now I'm going to cut this off. And I'm going to move this over to the other place again. So, hang on. We're going to go move this. You get to take a little wild trip again. Here we go. Those are the butt ugly curtains that came in this house that I'm renting. And they don't bother me enough to want to do them. It's a countdown. I mean, we're going to be here a year, so I got about 10 more months to go, and those curtains are not going to get fixed. It's the way it is. All right, so here we are. Okay, so let me find the zipper. And let me find the binding. So what do you think of these colors? So I decided to do blue over there. This is going to be the zipper. And here's pink binding. You think that'll be cute? Okay, so that's going to be the exterior. Excuse me. Oh. So now again, remember, you could have stitched in the ditch if you wanted to on any of this, and I personally just don't, okay? I think it's easier to do it the other way. Now, if I was going to do this for real, I would measure the center point of this zipper, put a pin in it, and it would be going here, right? So, obviously, on this side, we want the zipper to be like this when we get done, and there's going to be binding over this edge. So you kind of just have to kind of think this through. I know this is the part that just sends people for a loop when they're trying to put these layers together to do this binding and all, okay? But it's really pretty simple. All you do is, here's the exterior piece, here's the zipper, and This is going to be my binding. And before you sew a stitch, whenever you're in, and you know what, it's late. I've been up a long time today. I didn't sleep a whole lot last night. I mean, I'm totally capable of making an error live here. So the easiest way to do this is audition it. Just put the layers together and clip them and see if it looks like it's going to turn out. And see, this is. See, this will be stitched down, and then that'll go over, and that's what it's going to look like. Okay, so zipper down up against the raw edge of binding up there, and you know what, I'll put a pin in just to make this a little bit better so you guys can see. And I don't use pins for any of this. I clip everything. But I have pins. I own pins. It's hard to catch up with the live videos with the time difference. Is there some way it can be viewed at a later time? Yeah, Carrie, this is going to be on the group. I'll save it to the group as soon as we're done here tonight. And you can had a pin in my mouth. You can play it back. Okay, so this again is just to audition it so that you can see how it's going to look. So this is how my next one's going to look. Okay. Does that make sense? Ta-da! Yeah, I'm probably going to upload this one to YouTube too. Okay, because this binding one. And then people won't freak out so bad. I know this is one of the things they just freak about, okay? And it was time for us to do all these. You know, I got my head out of my wazoo now and I'm working. I'm trying to get things done. And again, this is kind of a general thing, is just doing these bindings. And I'm not going to sew this one tonight now. I'm not going to do this top one. But for the case of a bionic gear bag, and this is also going to be the way it is for the mother load, this just shows you the layers, okay? I'm new here. Do you make a live presentation every Sunday night? No, we do them when I get around to doing them. And so, like, I intend on doing some more, and once in a while we might even video something. It could be a god-awful time of the day. I mean, it might be, you know, 4 or 5 in the morning. It just depends on when I'm at a stage in something and I want to get it done. So I'm going to be starting to do, I'm finishing up my mother load bag that I can use as a video to show how cute the mother load bag is, okay? And then once I can do a demo of that and I launch it, then this mother load thing is going to start right away too. And I mean it's going to start right away, like in the next couple days, because we just have to get that thing launched. So there you go. So does that all make sense? See how cute that'll be? So this will be pink. Let you guys see the exterior. Now the pins are in the way a little bit, but you get the idea. Let me use a clipper too. It's lumpy bumpy because there's pins there. I'm just trying to show you how cute the colors are. I think these colors are adorable. Okay, so see, that'll be my zipper, and it's going to look like that. So it's going to be blue up the sides and then pink. See, I play with stuff more than anything. Where and when did you learn how to make this BGB? Where and when did I learn how to make this? The pattern's mine, Bridget. We know that, right? She made a different bead. Okay, so here, let's talk. You guys don't really want to talk about that. No, we're not going to talk about that right now. That's another story for another day. These are construction techniques that have been around since the earth cooled, okay? There's nothing revolutionary about any of this stuff. So this is all just things, okay? I drew out this pattern to make it fold out for this and make sure that it has a little tray in front to hold your goodies. And the way I wanted this bag to work is exactly the way it works, okay? So that is what my deal is. And all these other construction techniques, there's nothing revolutionary about any of it. Been around forever. It's just that here we are, we're using it for this bag, and I'm teaching it to you. And there's a lot of people that have done it before, and there's many, many, many more that haven't. So that's the whole idea, okay? So there you go. That's the binding. And again, this is just a general foundation type, word's not foundation that I'm looking for. Fundamental. This is just a fundamental video to show doing the binding, okay? And Irene wants to see the mother load. The mother load's not ready yet. You don't get to see it. I mean, as soon as I have it done and it looks similar to this, I'm using the same fabrics because a lot of the stores did this and just loved it. What is a BGB? Bionic Gear Bag. That is what this pattern is, Marcia. Bionic Gear Bag. If you look that up on Craftsy, that's what this this is, okay? And here, I'll show you my done one real quick. Now this is mine that I use when I go places, and it's also the one that sits over at the cutting table here. But it's meant to hold all your stuff, see? Pins and needles, wonder clips, this extra little thing zips up and holds your wonder clips. And then there's also a needle wallet that goes with the set. Oops, it's upside down. Somebody's been here looking at my stuff. Ta-da! So this is a needle wallet that holds your needles. And then the newest thing is we have a little trash bin thing that fits off the front. So if you, hi Patty, I finally get to see you one live and happening, okay? I appreciate you guys. So there you have it. So this one will be done tonight. I'll be burning the midnight oil, but I thought it was a good time to do the binding, okay? And if you have any questions, you can just type them on the group. If you have any other questions, you can ask them real quick right now, but otherwise we should be shutting this video down, I think. Carried on a little longer than I wanted, but hey, it was worth it because you got to see the side go on and then just how the layers work on that too. Patty, I agree. Sally, you... thank you. I'm just watching the comments go by. Can you tell us how the green zipper will attach? Well, that's going to be kind of more in the other pattern, honey. We'll do more in specifics with that. But see, it's still just another binding assembly. It's kind of like you do the same binding, only in the middle of it you're putting a zipper in too. Okay? Well, hope you guys had fun. You're all night owls. Thanks for spending some time with me. It made tonight a little more enjoyable for me. I liked it. I'm going to go finish up this bag, and hopefully by tomorrow you'll be able to see this one and the mother load, okay? Well, thank you for answering so many questions, and please have a good evening. Oh, thank you. Will the link work forever to this video? It's sure better, okay? You're awesome, Si. Thanks for putting this out there. Thanks, Mary Ellen. Judy, so cute. It's your happy bag. Yeah, this is one of my happy bags. Here's another happy bag. This is another one I did, was the camping one. This has got a little camping motif in it. And I did this one. Oh, somebody else has been looking at this too, because the double zippers are... See, I did this one with the double zippers too. I used some funky colors. And then this one's got a little camping motif to it. Trying not to dump it in the coffee. Here we go. And see, this one's got little campers and things inside it. Okay? You'll have a lot of fun working with the fabrics for these bags. It is just a kick. Picking out fabrics, and like in the case of this one, this was fun just throwing a bunch of colors together. All right, well, listen. Yeah, night owls rule. We do, don't we? Do you use meter zippers? They're 30-inch ones on the outside of the mother load bag, and you only need to use a 22 on the Bionic Gear bag. But oh, buy the meter ones. No, you know what? Here in the U.S., buying zippers by the yard isn't a deal like it is over in the U.K. Leslie, and mine's all cut out. Tempted to load up my machine and start sewing, but I have to work tomorrow. Oh, yeah. That darn work thing gets in the way. All right, you guys. Have a good night. Thanks so much. We'll see you on the next videos, and I'll be around tomorrow. Okay? Take care.